angels. Welcome to Pure Wisdom's very first video series. And this video series is about physical reality and spirituality. I will be helping you bridge that gap, because we know that there is a process that we all must go through to obtain our dreams, goals, and desires, right? And of success that we seek. So I'm creating this video series to help you with bridging that gap. Pure Wisdom mission and Pure Wisdom Foundation is set upon assisting individuals, whether it is in a in a professional or personal life. I help you bridge that gap between your spiritual self to bring about the desired results and success that you're seeking for your life. So I want to thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for following me on my journey. A part of my life mission is to share the insight and knowledge that I have, to teach what I have, and to help bring others to understanding of living in your true authentic self. So that is what Pure Wisdom is, and that's what this video series is about. It is about assisting you with that gap between your physical self, your physical reality, and your spirituality. So what is physical, right? Physical is what you see on the outside. Your physical is your home that you live in, the clothes that you wear, the job that you have, the things that you do on the outside, the car that you drive. Those are physical reality. The earth that you live on, all of these things are physical. This is a part of the life cycle, right? This is life. And these are the cycles of life that we all will experience. So that's what the physical reality is. Now, spirituality. What is spirituality? Many, in this new age, this new order, this new world, many adapt to different religions. You have the Christianity, you have Buddha, you have shamanism, Islam, you have atheists, you have people that don't even believe in any religion at all. But spirituality is not a religion. Spirituality is not a stereotype. Spirituality is truth. Spirituality is just living, being, doing, and learning from your true authentic self, from that person on the inside, that being, that light, that energy, whatever you want to call it, on the inside. That is what spirituality is. Many people say my intuition says something to me. My intuition, I woke up this morning and my intuition told me to wear this today. Or I was driving down the street and my intuition told me to take this route to work or home instead of taking that route. That still voice inside of you said something to you. We all have it. We all have acknowledged it at some point in time in our lives. And that's what spirituality is. Spirituality is listening, connecting, becoming one, and learning from that still small voice inside of you. That is what spirituality is. So that is physical and that is spiritual. Let's talk about that gap. That gap that is there, because we're not born with that gap. That gap is placed there through growing and learning as a child and becoming an adult. Whatever you see in your outside environment, whether you're with a parent or a grandparent or a foster parent, regardless of what that is, growing up from a adolescent child to an adult, you take on many different energies of others that you have interacted with. Again, whether that's your mother, your father, your foster parent, whoever it is that you had most of your childhood around. You tend to pick those things. You tend to mimic the things that you saw growing up. And in the very beginning, that's that gap. That gap that separates you from your true authentic self. So you have to, if you're fortunate enough to have a someone who raised you that understands the gap and wants to help you as a child bridge that gap, or to not even allow that gap to come into place. But most of our society, most of mankind, allowed that gap to happen. And their adulthood life, they spend most of their time trying to bridge that gap. A lot of people don't bridge the gap between the physical reality and spirituality, and their life remain chaotic. They have many troubles. You see people dying early because of that. Premature deaths. Many different things happen because of not bridging that gap. So how do you bridge that gap? That gap was placed there from the universe. The gap was placed there from the higher power, whoever it is that you seek or that you follow. That gap was placed there, and it was placed there because, like I stated earlier, there are lessons that you need to learn. Your life was predestined before you even got here in this physical reality. And when you're going throughout this physical reality, there are lessons that you need to learn. So that gap is in place to help you learn those lessons. As you learn the lessons, you begin to close that gap. So that is a process. The gap, bridging that gap between physical reality and spirituality. How do you bridge that gap? Right? That would be your next question. How do you bridge that gap? First and foremost, you will sit down with yourself and you will be open, honest, and upfront, raw with yourself. You will see, you would evaluate all of the things that is not working for you, or that you're not pleased of in your life, or the many different things that you see that you were programmed or taught growing up as a young, innocent, pure child. All of these things was embedded in you. So now as an adult, you're being forced to deal with these things. Dealing with them is a process. And like I state, the first step is sitting down with yourself and being real with yourself and acknowledging that you don't like or you don't agree with the way that your life is going at this time. It's just a brief evaluation of yourself. We need to get in the habit of daily doing evaluations to see how we can become better. So the process, once you sit down with yourself and you get clear, you figure out, okay, I don't like this about myself. I need to figure out how to change it. So you get to that point, right? You get to the point where you acknowledge, you have acknowledged that there is an issue. There is an issue that you want to fix, because many have issues but they don't see anything wrong with it, so they don't try to fix it, right? So if you're that individual that see there is an issue that you would like to fix, then I commend you, because that is the first step in bridging the gap. Seeing there is an issue that you don't like. Seeing where there was a programming put in place that you do not too much care for, that does not resonate with your authentic spirituality, yourself. So once you sit down with yourself and get clear, the next step is the hard heart work. That is the process. The hard, H-A-R-D. The hard heart, H-E-A-R-T. Heart work, right? It's hard work because it's emotional. There will be a lot of feelings, many negative feelings that you're going to experience, that is going to come up. But you have to sit with yourself in those moments and let them come up to clear yourself from that. So once you sit down with yourself and you get raw, real, and uncut, you take that next step and you see where the issue, where the root of that issue came from. You focus on the root. You pay attention to the root, because once you acknowledge the underlying root to it, then you begin to see how your solution is easier for you to fix it. Your solution comes to you with clarity. You begin to work at it day in and day out. But there is a solution. And the reason why there is a solution is because you got raw, real, and uncut with your spirituality, with your spiritual self. That's the authenticity. We're not speaking about the physical, because the physical is just a manifestation of the spiritual, right? So that's not even a concern right now. We're speaking about the spiritual self, the spirituality, the authenticity of you. Bringing that person to the forefront. Dusting that jewel off, uncovering that jewel, digging that jewel out, and allowing that jewel to sit on the shelf and shine, right? So you get those emotions. I'm gonna give you a scenario, a scenario, or whatever, for you to kind of understand it. So one of my processes was one of my root issue was control. I always wanted to have control over things and wanting to do things my way, and if it wasn't my way, it didn't work out right. And I hit many roadblocks and many dead ends because of that. So I sat down with myself and I had to get raw and unreal and uncut, and I saw that it was an issue with control. So of course the negative emotions came up. I cried, I got angry, I got depressed, I became disappointed. All of those emotions came up because I needed to get them up and out, right? Up and out. So once I labeled the issue, the root, which was control, I went through the emotions. Again, this is the process. I went through the emotions, and once I went through the emotions, I was able to sit back and see where everything was at that given time. So, my solution was sit back, remain humble, work on me, meaning stop trying to control everyone, and allow things to unfold the way they need to be. So, okay, control. I wanted things to be a certain way, and if they wasn't a certain way, I had a fit about it. I was upset. So my solution was, well, if it can't be my way, then I'm just going to release it, and whatever is for me is going to come back to me. That was my solution, right? And it actually worked, right? It worked for me. I let it all go. I let trying to control outcomes, trying to control the situation in that moment, I let it go. And I found that when I let it go from the inside of trying to control, all of my blessings came to me. I became a magnet. I didn't have to go look for it. I didn't have to control the situation. It came to me. I just let things be. If it didn't, if something didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to turn out, I just let it go. Oh well. Now, with saying, oh well, you're still human. So I want you to understand that you're still going to feel those emotions. You're going to feel those emotions of, oh gosh, it cannot be done right. Oh my goodness, why isn't they doing it this way? Or why it didn't turn out that way? No, 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 no. Release your hands. Release your physical self. And work only from your spiritual. Know within your being that whatever is for you is going to be for you. Regardless of how you try to make it come about. Don't make it. Work on you from the inside. Work on establishing, acknowledging, and knowing that there is a root issue. And when you do that, you make room. You make room for yourself. And when you make room for yourself allow your blessings to come to you. So, solution, process, bridging the gap. You bridge the gap between physical reality and spirituality by being raw, real, and uncut with the true person inside of you. Just sit still and listen to that voice, because that voice never leads you wrong. It always tells you which way to go, but we all ignore it. So I want to challenge you, because that gap, it is what keeping you from your dreams, goals, and desires. Bridge it. Close it. But most importantly, stand through it. I want to thank you for being a part of my first video of a series of pure wisdom, bridging the gap between physical reality and spirituality. The first steps, the many different processes, embracing, knowing your true authentic self. Only then will you begin to bridge the gap. So my challenge again to you is go and sit down with yourself and find that root. Listen to the inside of you and find that root. Find the root and then work on a solution. Allow your spiritual self, spirituality, to bridge that gap for you. You just need to show up and be there. So again, I challenge you to be there in that moment, to help yourself bridge that gap. Sit down, get raw, real, and uncut with your true authentic self. Angels, it's been nice. I enjoyed every minute of it. Until our next video, you guys be blessed. Much love and light. Namaste.